Hey guys, what's going on? It's Simon here, and obviously immediately you're seeing me, so you know it's not going to be one of our conventional style videos, but if you have been watching some of the playthroughs we've been doing over the past week or so, specifically the ones that I've done on the Let's Play map, then you will know that of course I'm doing a few upgrades to my PC, and I've been talking about that quite a lot, and quite a few people actually were really interested in it, and asked me to make a video on when I actually get it all done. So I figured basically what I'd try and do, I mean I've never done this style of video before, it's probably going to come across really badly, I hope it doesn't, but I'm going to try and basically explain to you what I've bought. I'll show you what I've bought, and then I'll be showing you some pictures and stuff of the build as it goes along. I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. Nobody wants to watch a super long video, but again, I've never done this before, so I don't really know how it's going to go. Now, if you have been watching those Let's Plays, you'll know that what initially started out as effectively a system upgrade has turned into quite a lot more than a system upgrade, to the point that you could probably call it a brand new machine, which wasn't intended, and I probably spent too much money on it, but it's done now. It's over. There's no going back, so at least there's that. Now, another thing I just want to note, if the audio and the video get slightly out of sync, I do apologise. What's really stupid, I'm recording this on my webcam, which isn't ideal, but I don't actually own a decent camcorder, and the webcam software that records it records audio in a really, really poor quality that can't be changed. So I'm using another recorder to record my audio, so it's separate, and hopefully nothing's wrong, but it might go out of sync, so I apologise for that. Right, now, I've been waffling for quite a long time, as I do. First thing I want to show you, so upgrade. I wanted to upgrade my PC. This started with this. This is an OCZ Vector 128GB solid state drive. So if you have an old machine and you want to upgrade it to make it faster, a lot of people will just say, oh, you chuck in more RAM, or you buy a better graphics card, or whatever. Now, I'm not necessarily a tech whiz, but I've been doing some research, and from what I can see everywhere on the web, basically solid-state drives will improve performance undoubtedly over the slower mechanical hard drives, and so I wanted to do that, and that was the plan, just to upgrade that. Now, a solid-state drive uses a SATA 3 interface, which is a 6 gigabit per second transfer rate. Now, my motherboard, because it's so old, it's about, well, 4 years old now, which I do have. I've got loads of boxes around me, guys. You're going to be seeing them all. It is the Asus Republica Gamers Crosshair 3 Formula. Very old board, and it was kind of one of the last generation of boards not to have SATA 3, which is kind of unfortunate. But it has SATA 2, which is basically the predecessor to that. It's half the speed. I assume you've been seeing a few things about like USB 2, USB 3. If you've ever bought like a portable hard drive or a USB stick, they're the kind of things. And basically the difference is between SATA 2 and SATA 3 is a doubling of the speed from 3 gigabit a second to 6 gigabit a second. Now, all of that technical, boring crap out of the way. So the thing is, whilst I got this solid state drive and it was going to improve performance regardless, I knew that if I had a motherboard with SATA 3, then it could perform even faster, because the bandwidth is actually capped at, I think it's about 375, or is it 350 megabytes per second read and write, whereas this solid state drive, because it's very good, it's the OCZ's flagship one, it can actually perform a lot faster than that. So I thought, well, how much is that actually going to cost me to upgrade my motherboard to be able to cope with that? Now, I was intending to spend as minimal amount as possible, but then I looked into it, and whilst I could get a very cheap board, if I actually spent just that little bit more, I actually got a lot more features for my money. So I probably went a bit over the top, but I mean, I had a bit of problems with buying a board. I bought initially an Asus TUF series, TUF series board, the Sabertooth, but they sent me the wrong one, so I sent it back. But instead, I just wanted to get one quick, so I have here, it's quite a big box, sorry, it's the M5 A99FX Pro R2.0. I only know that because I can read it. I've got a little screen cam for myself as well, so I can see what's going on. That means nothing to anyone other than the fact that basically this board will work with the AMD rig that I'm trying to build and it says Pro in the title, which, as you all know, as a gamer, that means it's better, apparently. I know that's bullshit, but this board, I mean, it's basically, obviously, the highest end board. It's the Pro board from Asus, minus their Sabertooth series, their Tough series, and Republica Gamer series. Obviously, I've got a very high-end board. In theory, it's an old board, but it was a very high-end board. But I'll be upgrading it, and that has the new SATA 3 to make my solid-state drive work a bit faster. So I bought that. That was great. Now, when I was looking at potentially upgrading my motherboard as well, what's really weird about the AMD line of processors, so with the motherboard, it always has, in the middle somewhere, it has a processor socket. Now, the AMD line, very different to Intel in the fact that they pretty much use the same socket for every processor. It's what they call AM3 or AM3 Plus, which are like interchangeable. Now, mine, unfortunately, was an AM3, not an AM3 Plus. It couldn't actually support. It could support a slightly better processor than the one I've got. I am currently running a AMD Phenom 2 quad-core processor, 955 Black Edition. Very good processor, but it's getting a bit dated, and I don't know. I wanted to make this machine beastie. I wanted to be able to render videos super fast so we can get them out to you guys quicker and stuff like that. So I looked at what I could upgrade it to, and to be fair, for not that much more money, I was able to upgrade to a new processor, and because I've bought now a new motherboard, that supports me in the latest generation of processors. Now, the highest ones from AMD, they actually draw like ridiculous amounts of power. It's like 225 watts, which is unheard of. I didn't want to go that extreme, and it doesn't come with a cooler like a heatsink, because you have to use liquid cooling, otherwise it will break, which to me that just seems like a recipe for disaster. So I did decide to upgrade my processor. I have here the processor. This is their FX8350, which, believe it or not, is an 8-core processor. So this has got 8 physical cores in. It clocks at 4 gigahertz, turbos up to 4.4. It's a bloody quick processor. It's basically, I would call it their flagship processor, in the sense that it's their flagship processor that makes sense. There are other ones that they've released, the faster ones. I mean, as I said, the one that draws 225 watts, I think it is, or 220 watts. Yeah, it's 5 gigahertz, but at the end of the day, I'll be able to overclock this to 5 gigahertz, no problem, and it's not going to draw that kind of wattage, which is just ridiculous. I know you could probably overclock that 5 gigahertz one higher, but not that I care about saving trees, but my god, I want to save my wallet a bit by not drawing too much power from a processor, which shouldn't really be the main thing drawing power. Now, I'm being really slow about this, but alright, okay, next thing I bought. Now, one thing, this headset that I've got here, sorry, that probably made a really loud noise. I shouldn't have done that, but it's a Sennheiser PC360 Game Edition, and it's a really good headset, really high end. Cost me quite a lot of money, which means it's got great drivers, just really good audio, and it has a good mic. The problem is, I bought a sound card at the same time, but due to the motherboard, again, the crosshair that I've got beside me, that was kind of really weird. It came with its own sound card, and you couldn't actually plug a different sound card into that socket. It was tuned only for that sound card. Really bizarre. And because of the way my graphics cards were situated, I couldn't actually fit another one in. And so I just returned it. I said, look, it doesn't even work, which kind of sucked. But with a new motherboard means I've now basically bought the exact same one. Looks rather unimpressive. I mean, you can kind of actually see the board, the PCB as it's called, the chipboard there. This is just a pretty cheap sound card. I mean, in dollars, which everyone should really know how to convert into their local currency from dollars, it costs around $40, 35 to 40 bucks. So not too expensive at all. I mean, you can go a lot higher if you want. You can spend over $100. But this one will give me superior audio, like much better audio than the onboard sound of the new motherboard, and it wasn't that expensive. And it's something that I've really wanted to do, because I spent so much money on a headset, but I can't untap its true performance without a better sound card. So again, I did that, and that should be an improvement. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that should be an improvement. Now, this is where it starts to get really silly. So I'd upgraded, I wanted to just upgrade a hard drive. I've now all of a sudden got a new motherboard, a new processor, and like, that's just ridiculous. I've already upgraded 2 things. and I was just doing silly things. Now, so when looking at upgrading things, the reason why I said it wouldn't cost that much is because I'd not only been looking at the cost of a new processor or motherboard, I've been looking at how much I could sell my old one for through whatever kind of sites, like things that actually buy components back off you, or in this case I was looking at even just selling them on eBay. I mean, a lot of people do that kind of thing, and there's a surprisingly high market for components on eBay. So I've been looking at selling things, and so the upgrade cost wasn't too high, and so I figured, well, what else could I upgrade? Now, during the process of actually buying a motherboard, when I bought the motherboard that I said I had to return because they sent me the wrong one, I also saw that the same seller that was selling it was selling some RAM, some memory, and it was very well. What he was advertising was very good RAM at a very cheap price. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick that up. Why not? And I can just upgrade my system in that regards because it wouldn't even cost me anything once I've sold my old ones. Unfortunately, again, he'd listed it wrong, and it wasn't actually the higher end memory that I thought it was going to be. And then here's where I go really stupid. I decided to buy new memory anyway, even though the memory I've got is fine. So the memory I've got is 4 2 GB sticks, 8 gigs of RAM. You don't really need more than that in any system. It does help for video editing and rendering, but I went and bought the Corsair Vengeance Pro Series, 8 gigabytes. Two 4 GB sticks, and it's actually some pretty. Oh, if I show you the back, you may or may not be able to read it. But it's some pretty quick RAM because it's the 1866 megahertz speed. And this is where I got really stupid. I saw a video about this RAM because I did my research. I wanted to do my research, and people basically said, if you're going to buy the RAM, cool, it's good RAM, no reason not to. Has the blue little heatsink on top, makes it look really cool, and it will blend in really well with my motherboard. I only showed you the front. If I show you the back of the new box, hold on, where is it? There. This is the most sketchy video ever. I'm trying to position this. It is a sort of a black and blue themed motherboard with a bit of silver and stuff around. And so I saw a video that was recommending basically if you if you have the money or if you need this much RAM, you can get it's called the Black Edition, but it actually has it's black obviously like this one, but instead of having a blue heatsink, it has a silver one. And if you mix them together, have like blue silver, it looks really cool, and it did look really cool, and I'm going to put them in my rig, and hopefully it's going to look pimping, because I like things to look good, and especially with my new PC coming in like 3 months time or so, well, probably only 2 months time, I'm going to be building, it's in what's called a Red Harbinger Cross, which is a desk that is a computer case combined. It has 2 computer cases effectively in it, and I'll be able to see the machine, so I want it to look good, but I'll get more into that a few months down the line. I don't want to get you guys too excited on that one. The next thing I bought, I didn't really need to, and it's not something I intended to upgrade, but it was just a really good deal. I had to take advantage of it, and because I bought this processor that I want to basically have a try at overclocking. I've never really done it before, and to do that you need a good cooler. Now I've currently got air cooling, which is reasonable, but it's just not quite proficient enough. So I've bought another product from Corsair, the H100. I could have gone for the H100i, but it cost over twice as much and only reduced temperatures by about 4 degrees. I think it was a little bit quieter as well, but the H100 is a very powerful closed-loop water cooling system. So it sits on your processor, has a little pump in it, and it's connected to a radiator, and it pumps water around, has the fans that blow through the radiator, and obviously disperses the heat. And that's going to enable me to do some seriously cool stuff with that processor. It wasn't too expensive as well, and it's my first little adventure into the water cooling scene. I know it's a closed loop thing, it's nothing fancy, but you need to start somewhere, and I will be building a full custom built water cooling loop not too far in the distant future. Right, now I've shown you quite a lot of boxes so far. One thing I guess I can get onto now is by buying that H100, I was like, yeah, I bought this is awesome. Then I kind of realised that my case is an Antec 300, seriously old case, but quite a popular case. It can't fit a Corsair H100. It can't actually fit this like 240mm radiator that's quite big, and so to accommodate that, I looked online, and some guys have done some seriously awesome stuff, and one guy managed to mod his case to fit this in, but to do that he had to basically rip out his hard drive bays. So to do that, I mean, this is definitely not the fanciest package in the world, but I bought 2 of these, which are bay adapters to allow you to effectively put a hard drive inside what would be like a DVD or a Blu-ray drive, the 5¼ inch bays. So I'm going to put my hard drives in there, all at the top of the machine, and then I can rip out the hard drive bays. I can get the solid state drive at the bottom of the machine because there's actually a mounting hole there, and then hopefully I should get it all working in that configuration. It'll all be really good. I can screw in my my radiator at the front, and it will provide me with exceptional cooling. Little random new bits that I got were obviously to install a processor. You can't just bolt on a piece of metal. It won't actually give you the proper cooling. So I bought some new thermal compound. I am currently using Arctic Silver 5, but that is actually electrically conductive as well as thermally conductive, and so it can damage your components. So I don't really want to use that again. This is the Arctic MX4, which is one of their higher end ones. It actually doesn't give quite as good cooling as the Silver 5, but it doesn't conduct electricity. So even if I spill it, or God knows how I mess up with it, it will not damage my components, which is a good thing. So I want to protect, obviously, my investment. Next, this looks really sketchy. It looks like I'm a chemist. In this bag, I have a bottle of 99.9% pure isopropyl alcohol. It's not to get wasted. I definitely don't want to be getting wasted. I mean, I look pretty rough. I know this, but that's because last night I was out and things got out of control, but I won't elaborate on that anymore. But this is basically a cleaning fluid because it's pure alcohol, and I'll use it to clean the processor so that when I actually apply the thermal compound, it's completely clean. It gives the best possible thermal conductivity. Again, this is all very boring stuff, but I thought I'd do a full video explaining everything. You can skip to the bits you want. I probably should have mentioned that at the start so you could actually skip through, but hey, we're 16, nearly 17 minutes in now, so I'll try and keep it under 20. I'll try. Alright, okay. So so far I've upgraded my motherboard, processor, memory. For whatever reason I did that. I've got myself a new heatsink for my CPU, and I'm going to move around my case. I'm going to mod the case, which I've never done before. So it's all going to be really interesting. And then, obviously, because I was browsing on eBay and looking at various things about what I could sell my components for, I was curious, like, how much does my graphics card sell for? Now, I have Asus. It's an AMD ATI HD 5770. All these weird codes and numbers. I don't know why they do this, but I don't just have one. I actually have two identical ones. So the reason why I have two identical graphics cards is because when I initially wanted to buy a graphics card for this machine, I wanted to buy the upgraded version of that card. That was the 5850 or even the 5870 I was looking at, but they were out of stock everywhere. They'd just come to market. They'd sold out instantly. I couldn't buy them for literally 3 months, and I needed a system, so I was like, screw it, I'll buy two cheaper ones, put them together. You can make them work together in Crossfire X, and because I've got two graphics cards instead of one, it draws a lot of power. I kind of want to reduce the power consumption a bit, and ideally, just because not everything you ever use can actually utilize two graphics cards. Some, like games, can, but not all processors can. So I've effectively got, if it's only using one graphics card, my graphics card is worse. So I looked at upgrading it, and I was looking at potentially buying second-hand graphics cards. I did buy a second-hand graphics card, and it's an awesome graphics card. I mean, it's somewhere behind me. I won't get it out. But I'm actually going to sell that again. It seems really silly, but it's because I found a deal on here, the MSI HD 7850. So obviously you can tell that the the 5 in the 5770 has changed to a 7, so it's 2 generations on. Obviously this is brand new, so it means I get another 3-year warranty, which is great. When you buy second-hand components, obviously there is the risk that they will fail. And the 7850 is surprisingly actually very, very good, even though it's not the highest end in the 7000 series, and they've actually just released their new series, their rebranded ones, to the R7 and R9. So it's not the best in the world, but it's pretty damn good. I mean, it's going to do all I need it to do. I need it to power 3 1080p displays. You can't see them, I can. All in front of me, 3 1080p displays. I'm not going to be upgrading to like 4K like LED TVs or anything anytime soon. The only thing I could potentially ever do would be to upgrade to a monitor that's I think it's 2560 by 1440p or by 1600. They're like higher resolution monitors. They're not quite 4K, but they do look really sweet. But it's unlikely that I'll be doing that anytime soon. So for now, that graphics card, it was pretty cheap. I mean, by selling my current 2 graphics cards and then buying that one, I literally hope that the amount of extra money I spend is going to be pretty minimal, anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds, which for a graphics, considering that will be a significant upgrade to the performance of my machine, I mean that's a really good deal. And to get a brand new graphics card compared to 2 old graphics cards, will use less power. So eventually that 20 to 40 pound I'll save just in power consumption over the next couple of years anyway. So that's going to be really, really sweet. I'm looking around at all the goddamn like ridiculous number of boxes that I've just shown you, and I'm looking at the time and it says 20 minutes. My god, that is a long video. I apologize. I probably could have done this more briefly, but you know how it works with with me. I always seem to go over the top a little bit, but I've shown you everything that I've bought, everything that I'll be upgrading to. The only box I just realized I didn't show you, largely insignificant, was my old memory box. In fact, it's only one of my old memory boxes. I did tell you I've got 4 2GB sticks. So here is a 2 times 2GB stick box. I think I lost the other box, or I might have, because I bought the other ones as an upgrade, so maybe it came what's called OEM, which is outside of the original packaging. So yeah, maybe I didn't actually get the original packaging with it. I can't quite remember. But either way, I've got one box, but it's identical RAM, because if you ever upgrade your RAM, you usually want to make sure you've got identical RAM. And that's what's really weird about, obviously, my my new RAM boxes. Even though they're different colors, they are still the exact same RAM. The code only differentiates, like the actual part code. They're exactly the same speed, exactly the same timings, exactly the same size, but one of them says C9 at the end, and the other one says C9B, which stands for blue. So that's the only difference, and that's why they're going to work together. And I'm going to have 16 gigs of RAM, and it's going to be awesome. One thing I can show you is a final thing for the video. I will say it's the final thing, and it's going to be a bit of a teaser for my build that's coming 2 to 3 months down the line. All of this here, all the stuff I've bought, relatively cheap components. It's not top of the line stuff. I mean, it's an AMD machine, not to hit like bash on AMD. They make some good stuff, but they're not quite as advanced in the market as Intel at the minute, who make Intel processors. And I will be building an Intel rig, which is going to be awesome. And so what I want to show you is this. So this will be the RAM. I've actually already bought the RAM for my new system. As you can see here, I've gone seriously overkill. That is 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is an ungodly amount. Nobody needs that much, but fuck it, YOLO. I'm doing it anyway, and hold on, it's going to be really difficult. You probably can't see that. Inside it actually has, on the RAM sticks, you can see them in there. This is the best RAM on the market, pretty much. Maybe the G-Skill Trident X is better performing. Only like if I owned both of them, if I was rich enough to own both of them, then I would find out. But it sort of opens up like that. There are 4 sticks in here of Dominator Platinum, Corsair Dominator Platinum RAM. It is the beast mode stuff, and this stuff, instead of running at 1866 megahertz, is running at 2400 megahertz. Seriously fast stuff. So not only lots of RAM, it's super quick as well. So I mean, that's just a taste of what's to come with my my future rig. It's going to be sick. I've got that tucked away in my my desk drawers. Yeah, I always leave it there, and I can just look at it, and I know how awesome my future build's going to be. That RAM's seriously cool. It's got like light bars on and stuff. It has LEDs going on. It looks sick. So yeah, really, really looking forward to that. Anyway, guys, I've just even talking about that, I've extended the video by like 3 minutes. Apologies. I'll wrap it up now. So, guys, again, this would not have been for everyone, but hopefully the people that didn't want to watch it have turned off rather than stayed to the end. If you stayed to the end anyway, you're obviously a big RuneShark fan, so thanks for that. But I'll leave it there. If you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video, and I will see you again pretty soon with some pictures of my old machine as I'm taking it away, packing it away, and a picture, or well, more than one picture of me installing my new machine, and then hopefully maybe the next couple of videos that I bring to you will actually be rendered on that new machine, which should be pretty beast mode. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.